Hey, what's up? It's your Radio Love, Deja Vu. You know we always have your favorite celeb stopping by the show. Today, one of our favorites who has inspired us, whose music and voice moves us, Miss Andra Day is in the building.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Look, you are glowing.
Really? Thank you. I did put on moisturizer.
Look, it's a good thing
I just
to
got
have
off
a moisturizer.
a plane. Right, yes.
So wait. Okay, you just got off of a plane. Mm-hmm. Did you have a break at all?
I took about an hour nap. We took a red eye because we were rehearsing last night. So we took a red eye.
Oh, my
landed
gosh.
this morning, but the flight was like super delayed. So we got a little hour nap in there. And
you decided to come.
Yeah.
I appreciate
but I'm
it.
moisturized because I was like, I want to glow. I want to glow for them, okay?
The glow is there on the outside, but also on the inside.
Oh, thank you.
And definitely musically. So we've seen you. Talk us through how you got into the industry.
It's, so funny. It's such a long, let me figure out, how do I make a long story short? Because it is such a long story because, it's funny. I was talking to somebody not too long ago, and they finally broke it down. They were like, you didn't skip any steps. And I was like, yeah, some I wish I would have skipped. You know what I mean? Some were just like unnecessary. But I went, it's what I've always wanted to do, since I was young.
Yeah.
I went to a performing arts school. I started out dancing. I danced for like 22 years. Yeah,
Are
I
you
was like,
serious?
Yeah, I was like a ballerina. I was on point.
No wonder you have that body. Yada. Okay. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so and that's what I thought I was going to do. I'd go to Juilliard and be this prima ballerina and all this stuff. And then I was just like, I love eating, and I don't like these people yelling at me all the time when my lines aren't straight. No, but I love to dance. I love just performance arts. I loved singing, and I knew I could sing at like 6 years old. So all of it's kind of just been, I don't really know anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all I've really known. And I fortunately, which I realize now is such a blessing, but I have had parents who have always been supportive of my dream. It was never a question of like, can you make money? Is that a real job? They were kind of little floaty hippies like me. You know what I mean?
That's really a blessing, especially in the arts.
Yeah, 100%. So they were kind of just like, oh, yeah, that's what she does. She does, I think they also knew that there's no plan B for me. So they were like, make sure the baby does well here, Like,
were you around the neighborhood singing in like the talent shows and all that, or were you performing, dancing more?
There was like, for instance, there was like a neighborhood play that I did. It was just at oh my God, I can't remember. It was in an area called Bankers Hill in San Diego, and there was like a play that they did that summer. But I went to performing arts school, and the thing is about this school is that it's an amazing school. It started by the time I got there, it was 6th grade, but it used to be like 4th grade to senior year, and you were just
4th grade. Wow,
inundated in the arts and inundated with these older seniors that were doing what you wanted to do, and so it was just a really great community. I started going there when I was 11 years old, and that's when I was exposed to like Billie Holiday and jazz vocal performance and classical music, dance and musical theater, all the arts. And so I knew that's what I always wanted to do. So I was going to like local studios, trying to make music, trying to write.
Even in high school?
Oh yeah, in high school when I graduated too, and I joined this little girl band when I was in high school too. Shout out Priscilla and Shaniqua. We were called Intimate back in the day.
Okay, Intimate. What did y'all sing or did you rap?
No, we sang.
Okay.
Yeah, we sang. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely not a rap. I sing rap. You know what I mean? That's the best. It has to have a melody. But and then once I graduated too, I was just trying to finding my way to any little hood studio or whatever, and then I ended up being introduced to this guy who was, I guess he was kind of managing artists in San Diego. I wasn't, or wanted to do that or something. Mm-hmm. And he introduced me actually to this other manager, and it wasn't a great scenario, but so the good things did come from it. You know what I'm saying? Like glass half full.
Yeah.
Great, actually, a great thing came from it, and that's I was recording music just in GarageBand, getting with different producers and things like that, and so those demos found their way into the hands of Stevie Wonder. It's like literally
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
No, you go from you quote hood studio to Stevie Wonder.
Listen, it was a lot. There was so much like, again, there were processes in there. Like I was in New York working. I came here and was like trying to do music as well too. And I got introduced to actually a friend of mine, Sean Barron, who was like A&Ring at Atlantic at the time. And then it was like, I was almost going to sign to like Akon and Divine Stevens in Atlanta and all this stuff. So
wow.
So it was just a progression, a really, really long, slow progression of things.
Did you feel discouraged at any point? Like, okay, I'm just going to go get a 9 to 5?
Honestly, the funny part is yes and no. You know what I mean? Like there's some really, really like, there's something grounded about what we do, but there's also something very inherently transient about what we do. And you just kind of get familiar with functioning that way, you know? It wasn't until And literally, I tell the story because it wasn't until like right before I went in to write Rise Up that I finally was like, I feel like I'm going to have to actually change careers. And I don't have training or any experience or anything or a desire or any motivation to do anything else. So it was once I met with Stevie, he actually introduced me to the producer who did my first record, Adrian Gervitz. I was introduced to my then manager at that time. And then we ended up signing to Warner Brothers, where I met my manager now, Felicia. She was doing publicity for us at the time. So it was just, and then it was the writing session. So we went in with a finished record, and then it was like tons and tons of writing sessions. And
So wait, the record is already done, but you still went back in and did more writing?
yeah, so the label wanted me to do like a bunch of sessions with a whole bunch of people. It's kind of like a merry-go-round thing. And which can be really discouraging when they're just having you do a bunch of sessions, but really planning on shelving you. Shout out to these two for making sure that didn't happen. And I just remember really being in my, and then they hooked me up with Jan Del Sevio, which is who did Rise Up with me. And that was the first time that I questioned, and it was so funny because all the things were in place. I was signed to a label, and I had a manager, and it was
So what brought the questioning on then?
Because it was years of that. I mean, we signed in 2012, and we didn't drop the record until 2015. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So 3 years, you're like, I'm signing. Sometimes you have this moment where all of the moments where people told you, hey, you're not good enough, or they didn't like you, or you're whatever, all of it starts to settle in because you're like, man, I'm signed and all the places are in peace, and it's still not happening. So then maybe it really is me and I'm really not good enough, So.
And how do you, quote, rise up?
Like
I did that.
Listen,
how do you rise up from there?
For me, it's simple. I tell people prayer. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own thing. They have their own prayer for me. I was literally like, God, I was sitting outside that studio. I said, I don't want to do this session. I don't want to sing these songs. I don't want. I was like, I got to get my life together and figure out how I'm going to provide and what I'm going to do. And so I was just like, God, you just speak. Like, I'm going to go in here, just speak, do whatever it is you want to do. And then I went in and we did it. And it's funny because she was playing like she was playing the chords. I said, just play what you're playing. I'll freestyle something. Let's see what happens. And then most of the stuff came out for Rise Up in that freestyle. So it was it was a crazy process. Yeah. But
and the rest, as they say.
Yeah, everything in God's timing. You know what I mean? Yes.
But that's amazing. What a story.
Yeah.
And when we have somebody play your story.
Yeah.
That's
oh,
gosh.
Be
fire, for
that'd
real.
be hella boring. I was thinking about that. It was like, who's going to play your life story? I was like, and be bored the whole time?
No.
Let me do some more controversial shit first. You know what I'm
Please
saying?
don't. Please don't. We want you to stay right where you are. Step out a little bit, but not too wild.
There's some. There's a good bit in there, actually. Never mind. You're right. I'll play my story.
So we all have had that. All right. So from Rise Up, that was just like a whirlwind hit. And I was actually telling my cousin the other day, I'm saying, you need to write an anthem. She's trying to rap. I said,
I love
you need
it.
an anthem. Like Rise Up, because it's something that people can, cling to, and it's played forever. That's like a song that will never get old. You know what I mean? Because it's inspiring, it's encouraging, uplifting. How has that been for you? Like when that took off, were you like, oh, this is it?
I mean, shoot, I don't know if I ever really thought. It was so incremental. Even the way it took off was a slow burn. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like, it was kind of a slow process, right? It wasn't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like,
You're right.
in my eye? Right. Come on, you little hater. Why are you in my eye right now?
You need a tissue.
You want me talking about, I rebuke you, devil, okay, right? No. So, no, yeah, even that, was like a slow burn. And then it was a process because once, like, basically the record was done when we went in.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we want to play you something. And I was like, oh, no. And they were like, you wrote it. And I said, okay, let me listen to it. And so we listened to it, and it was like, okay, this is supposed to be it. But after that, everybody was trying to put like drums on it. And then they did the whole test. It was like, they said it will do better if we put a lot of drums and do
wow.
do
So
a
this
Tiesto
behind the scenes
remix.
stuff, we don't know
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We thought you just turned it in and it's done.
Yeah, and it was just like, bam, glorious hit. No. No. So it was like, and so we went through all those processes, but I don't know. I was like, the song just keeps telling us what it needs to be, and this is what it needs to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's interesting. It was a trickle effect. You know what I mean? I just remember it was like, okay, it didn't explode. It was a very, very slow burn that still slowly burns. It's just kind of like, but I remember a few things too, just like we got invited to the White House, actually, the First Lady, Michelle Obama, and they were like, oh, she wants to meet you and talk with you, about what she's going on. I was like, hell no. Like, I want to, but I was just like, bro, you know that imposter syndrome. I'm like,
of course.
Come on, bro. I ain't graduate college. What do she want to sit down and talk to me about? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
So it was all those things in my head. Fortunately, my team was just like, you're going. I was like, okay. But
that's why you got to keep the circle with the people
and
around
I'm so glad because
Yes.
I've been to their White House. That's what I say. Multiple times I was able to bring my entire family, which was amazing. Each like different points in time, you know. And she was doing an incredible campaign at the time. She was like, Rise Up really speaks to what we're doing. And it was a campaign called We Will Rise, and it Let Girls Learn. And she was going around the world, like talking to different governments about how not educating their women is causing, is harming their economy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was really, so I was like, wow, this is, you know, this powerful, this is doing something. Then we go on tour and people are like, hey, like it's deep. Like I don't want to say it on air, but like when people go, oh wow, I'm, you know, struggling with cancer, your song's helping me get through chemotherapy, or my loved one is getting through. Or when people literally say like, hey, I was going to, you know, harm myself or end myself, you know what I'm saying, terminate my life, and I didn't do it because I heard Rise Up in the last minute or something like crazy like that, you know what I mean? So we had very long meet and greets, you know what I mean? It was like, wow, this is like, then the Black Lives Matter picked it up as their official anthem, you know, and so it was just, you know, it's one of those things they invited us to sing on BET, thank you, Felicia, you know, and where else did we sing this song? Oh, the Grammys. Jesus. Yes, Jesus. And then it got nominated for the album. I think it was the album and the song or the song.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them, really? Wow, that's cool. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, so so then it got nominated for 2 Grammys and stuff like that. Yeah, you know what I mean? It was a slow burn.
but after that, like, did you feel like, okay, this is it. This is that song right now. Did you ever have that feeling, or are you still kind of like in awe of it?
I think I'm still in awe of it because there's moments where I realize I'm like, wow, this is really that song. You know what I mean? Or what was the statistic they told me was the most? At some point, it was the most synced song in the last decade or something, or the last 4 years or something. The most synced song. Also, the other part is kind of heavy, too, because it's like, good thing we do a lot of charity work and a lot of giving back. Because anytime there is some type of disaster or something crazy that happens, it's just like, oh, the number spiked. I'm like, oh, I feel conflicted about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, right, you know.
I didn't even think about it from that angle.
Literally, and people make jokes all the time. There's just like, I swear, anytime something disastrous happens, just expect to hear Rise Up 1,000 times for the next year.
Well, like I said, that's the anthem.
Yeah, no, I'm grateful. You know what I would tell you? You said it's your niece? Or
my little cousin.
Your little cousin.
Yeah.
My advice to her, I wasn't trying to write an anthem when I went in there. I wasn't trying to write anything. I was trying to get out of the session. But I would say my advice to her is write what she needs to hear. I would say pray about it. And then I would tell her write what is 100% true to her and what she needs to hear in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she tries to write an anthem, I don't know. It feels like it's harder to do that. But when you're just really writing from a super vulnerable place, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's probably the most honest way. Testimony. You know
Girl, you know I'm ripping this whole part out.
Hey, listen, please
MP3,
do.
here we go.
That's why I said, I was just like, my advice is don't try to write an anthem. Just write what's truly, truly here, where you're at and what you need to hear. You know what I mean?
Love it.
Yeah,
all right,
sure.
so we have the music, we have the album, we have the Grammys and all of that. Then you get this offer to star as Billie Holiday.
Yeah, yes.
Where did that come from? Did you embrace it right away, or were you like, no, I'm going to keep focusing on my music? Talk to us.
It wasn't even just I'm going to keep focusing on my music. I was like, no, nigga, I don't act. You know what I mean? This is crazy.
But
like,
you came from an art school and an arts
I did.
background.
And that's the thing. You know what the funny part is, though? And that's the thing. People are like, but you went to performing arts, you did plays, you did musical theater. I said, yes, but I got those gigs. You still had to audition. Like, you had to go through the whole process at this school. They trained you well. I was like, I got those gigs because I could sing and dance. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was like, great, she could sing, she could dance. We don't really need the acting part. You know what I mean? It's musical theater in high school. But, so I don't know. I just thought maybe I'll do some maybe little bit parts here, or I'll like take time off to really train in the role and in acting, and then I didn't think it would just be like, hey, you should play one of the heaviest roles you could play.
Girl, but you slayed
like,
that role.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. But no, I did. I did deny doing it at first. I mean, so did Lee. You know, Lee was hearing from people, oh, you should hire her to do it. He's like, she's not an actor. I was like, I'm not an actress. So we met, and we just really fell in love with each other. You know what I mean? Like, he's family, will always be family to this day. And, like, we just connected. I really loved her. That's where the Day comes from in my name. Like, when I was younger, I loved that Lester Young called her Lady Day. And so I didn't want to take the whole holiday, so I cut my name in half and put Day. So I really love her. Like
I
she's
didn't know
really,
that was the original. I mean,
Yeah.
you hear, but I didn't know that was from
yeah,
Billie.
no, that was originally from Billie. So I really love her. Like, you know what I mean? And I just had this idea that like I would get in there and be this like blot, you know, on her legacy where they'd be like, Diana Ross was amazing. You know, Audra McDonald was amazing. They'd be like, damn, you remember when Andra Day played her? Like, I didn't want to be that person. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
that is pressure. It is a lot of pressure.
hella pressure. Like, I was like, whoa. But I saw his passion. Like, he was a fan of Lady Sings the Blues. It's one of his favorite movies ever. Loves Diana. We both do. And then he discovered this real story that in the 70s they weren't allowed to tell, you know, that she was singing Strange Fruit. She was fighting for civil rights. She was an early godmother of the neo-civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. And so he felt this need and this unction to, you know, for Black women to vindicate her legacy. You know, like, he's like, I don't want the world to just know her as a tragic drug addict. You know what I mean? Like,
right, because I don't think I didn't know that portion of the story. You hear only what's out there in the mainstream
100%.
unless you do a deep dive.
Yes.
And even with the deep dive, I still hadn't learned about that.
No, you had to, it really like, you know, Johann Hari actually wrote something called Chasing the Scream, and he had to really, really find pieces from everywhere. Like, you had to really, really dig and bring it all together. Mm-hmm. Now we have it more available on the internet, but that was an actual, like, that was designed by the government. That was designed by the Federal Bureau of Narcotics at the time, because they were trying to eliminate her memory, period, but she was too famous. Mm-hmm. So they were just like, what we'll do is just change the narrative. You know what I mean? We'll stop having her bring people together and sing about racial terror in America, and she's a drug addict, planting drugs on her and all the musicians at the time. So, like, it was good for people to know, like, the first war on drugs was not in the 80s and not in the, you know what I mean? That was in the 30s and in the 40s.
Yeah.
And, you know, so, and she was at the helm of it. And so, I was nervous because it was heavy. I didn't want to, like, stain her legacy. But it was a prayer, again. You know what I mean? I was trying to pray my way out of it. And I was asking God, I was like, yes, Lord, I know you do not want me to do this role. I agree with you, God. You are so right. And then I read the scripture, and it was like Peter getting out of the boat and walking on water, like to do something that felt impossible, to be caused to do an act of great faith. And I was like, oh, all right, nigga, I'm going to do it. So no, but and I'm so glad. Like, I was, you know, that was probably one of the greatest experiences and times of my life. Like,
and
the
then
hardest
to be Oscar nominated.
Yeah, it was crazy. I did not expect any of that.
Where were you when you heard that your name was called? Were you awake when they were doing the things, or did somebody
right,
call
because
you?
it was super early in the morning.
Yeah,
Where was I? I was laying on my sofa. At this time, I had hoarded myself out of my room, so I was laying on my sofa. Mm-hmm. Travel makes things weird. You know what I'm saying? You get busy. But I was laying on my sofa, and it was early in the morning. I think when they announced it. Yeah, it was 8, early in the morning.
But if you were in LA, it was super early.
Yeah, but I wanted to just, like, I like to do this thing where I like to not engage with anything, my phone. I don't always do it, but try to not engage with anything until I do, like, prayer and devotion time, meditation. You know, so I was like, okay, let me not do that. But once I finally did, I opened my phone, and what I saw was hella text messages on my phone. And I was like, oh my God, I got nominated for an Oscar. This is crazy. Like, and then, like, yeah, I didn't realize it until all I saw was gang of text messages. And I was like, okay, wow, thank you, God. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
And who was the first person you called after that? Was it mom? Was it your cousin, your auntie, your manager?
I think it was my mama. Mm-hmm. I think it was definitely my mom. I think it was my family. Like, we have, like, a group text. I think it was my family first, and then my managers. Mm-hmm. Who did I call first? I don't remember. All of it feels like a daze. You had texted me, though. You know what I mean? Everybody who texted me, whatever. Who did I call first? I really think it was my mom and my family. Yeah. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Sure. Oh, and Lee.
Of course.
Yeah, Lee too. Tasha. Oh, God, Tasha, for sure. Oh, yeah, it's all coming back. There we go.
And so I heard that you and Lee are working on something else, too?
Yeah, so we just finished something, and then there's something else that he sent me a script for that we're working on as well, too. So I tell people, Lee, like, I feel like everybody, he's been doing this for so long, and people forget, Lee was doing this during a time when it was not popular to be Black and gay and making movies. You know what I'm saying? People forget that. Like, and so it's like there was a natural sort of, like, hatred apparently that I wasn't even fully aware of. You know what I'm saying? Like, toward those people and those groups of people in that time. You know what I mean? But I'm like, he's a pioneer. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he continued to fight
and the stories that he
to
tells.
Make these movies. Yes, yeah. And he continues. Like, what I love about him is that we have this thing. And I feel it and I understand it. Like, it comes from such a deep place. But we have a need to, like, clean up our heroes and clean up our stories and do all those things because it's like because there's like, you know, the overarching culture in movies and everything is like white, and we have to present ourselves properly to be accepted and to get funding and to do all this stuff. And meanwhile, I watched 1,000 white divorce stories over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I watch these niggas get divorced and married all the time. But like, so am I just being reckless? Is this should I censor myself?
Technology. We got you. We got you.
Whoopsie. Okay, I just realized I was like, I'm talking real.
We got you.
I'm talking like my dad right now. I'm talking very reckless, very Detroit. But whatever, you know what I mean? My point is just like white people always are looking at their full selves in movies and on TV and all this stuff, and that, you know, and we're so worried that it's like, and I understand where it comes from, but I like that he does not cater to that in things. You know what I mean? He'll tell the beautiful parts and the ugly parts because it makes the full picture of a human. You can have fully realized characters. Like, people don't understand what a blessing that is to be able to play a fully realized character as a black woman in this industry. I'm newly realizing that, you know, like, so he writes these characters, and I think it's amazing because that's what's so engaging. That's why he's able to create Oscar winners and Oscar nominated actors and actresses every time he does something. You know what I mean? So he's brilliant, and I feel like, you know, I went on a tangent. What was the original?
We were just talking about him, and you said you had another project.
Oh yeah, we had another project.
Said that this new one is like a horror movie.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so amazing. So anyway, I was saying that, right? I was saying that I was giving him credit actually, because he is like, especially when I got into this, I was like, I really mainly just want to work with Lee. Like, if I work with a couple other people, cool, but I really like working with Lee. Da, da, da. They're like, you can't do that. You can't do that. I said, Martin Scorsese does it all the time. They work with the same people all the time. And that's my Scorsese. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he absolutely is that. So yes, we are working on another project together. It's called The Deliverance. I absolutely love it. Like, it's a horror film, but it's a thriller, but it's a family movie. Like I said, it's all the dynamics. It's the beautiful parts, it's the ugly parts, it's the parts you don't know how to feel about. Like, and so it's this woman. It's based on a true story, actually.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is really interesting for it to be like a haunting and to be like a thriller and a horror movie.
And what's your character in this?
So my character, I play. Am I allowed to say the name of my character yet? Do you know? Damn. Okay.
Oh.
Tight.
Well,
tight,
can you say about the character?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Okay. So I play. She is a mother. She's a single mother. She's 3 kids, and she's battling her own, like, she's healing. She faced a lot of abuse when she was young. You know what I'm saying? Physical, sexual. Her mother was an addict, and so she's dealing with the trauma of that within herself. She's battling with her own alcohol addiction at this point, and she's trying to raise 3 kids by herself. So she's very human. The relationship she has with her kids is a very, very human relationship. Those are like her like kids and her homies kind of at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, they lean on each other. And then her mother moves in with her. And so we watch this relationship with her mother go through a lot of ups and downs, and it starts to heal, but it came from a lot of pain. You know, she hasn't forgotten all of the things that happened to her when she was young. And so it's also a story of her coming to faith. Like, she's actually receiving, you know, Christ for the first time in her life. And, you know, it's a long process. And, and so it's this really, but at the same time, while all of this is going on, her kids are actually, she's fighting her own inner demons. Her kids are actually possessed by demons. And so, yeah, yeah, exactly. So there's like the internal emotional battle that's represented in the actual physical battle of her trying to exorcise a demon from her kids and save her kids. So it's a really incredible story. The way that he has felt this out is just, it's amazing. It's amazing to watch him do it. This is a new arena for him as well, too. But Lee is a visionary, so it doesn't really matter. What he jumps into, he's going to be great at. You know what I mean?
All right. It sounds like you're jumping into great things as well. So from the movies back to your music, you have a brand new album.
Thank you.
Talk to us about it.
Yeah, I'm excited about the record. It's called Cassandra, which is my actual name.
Cassandra or Cassandra?
It's Cassandra. I know. I made it difficult.
It's confusing. Because I don't want to get it wrong. Right? I don't want to get it wrong.
Because, like, yes.
Because I saw the thing that said Cassandra. Okay.
Right. So my stage name is Andra. I just like the way Andra sounded better when I cut off the CASS. But it is technically Cassandra, which I have had to correct people all my life. They're like, Cassandra. I'm like, Cassandra. And then they go, Andra. I'm like, it's Andra. They're like, why? That's just me. But, yeah, so it's called Cassandra, parentheses, cherith. And it just represents kind of just like, you know, I feel like I've been a lot of different people. It's been 10 years since the last record, almost a decade.
Has it been that long?
It's been 9 years, yeah. It's been
But you know what? But you've been present, so it hasn't felt like
yeah,
you've
it's
been
interesting, right?
gone.
We did a soundtrack.
Yeah.
We won a Grammy for a soundtrack
Yeah.
in there, which is amazing. Like, so yeah. So I feel like I've been a lot of different people, not just because of these movies, because of relationships, discovering myself, discovering the good parts about myself, discovering the really ugly parts about myself. So I was kind of like, it just felt all encompassing because it's my name and that is me. Andra is in me and all of it's a whole process. So, and the other part is I like the meaning of my name. It took me a long time to accept my name. I always felt like it was weird. You know, like when you meet somebody, you're like, hi. I'll be like, my name's Cassandra. It just felt phony. It always felt weird coming out. I was like, whose name is this? I don't understand it. And for a long time when I was young, I was like, is this a boy's name? They were like, no. But so I as I got older, I understood the meaning of it, which means truth teller and encourager of men. You know what I mean? And so,
Wow.
yeah, and one of my identity scriptures is Isaiah 54, and it's about encouraging. You know what I mean? Speaking a word of encouragement in due season. And so,
So what about cherith?
And cherith actually represents sort of the place that I'm in, which is like, you know.
That's biblical too.
Yeah, it is. It's all it's called, there's a place in scripture, it's called Brook Cherith, and it's where God brought the prophet Elijah to.
Yes.
To really fill him up, that he could rest and he could be filled up.
Come on, preacher.
Yeah, I'm saying. I'm saying. No, it's good. So, so he brought him there and said, you'll drink water from the brook and I'll command the birds to bring you bread and meat. And I just love the symbolism of this place because it's like, I'm empty. You know what I mean? That's where I feel like I'm in the wilderness. I'm empty. I'm trying to find my way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have it together. You know what I mean? I feel like my anxiety has set in. Like, there's a lot of different things. And so I just feel like the album is kind of like Journey to Cherith. Like, I need to get to this place.
Is it cathartic for you? Healing is?
Yeah, because it's like, I don't have anything here. I don't have anything to offer. I don't have anyone to offer anybody. I don't have an encouraging word. I don't have the right money or the right, things, I don't have anything. You know what I mean? All I need is just my body and God's presence in this place. And I just need to be filled up by God. Yeah. And Elijah had to go there before he could go do his big one on the mountaintop. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's how I feel. I'm like, cool. I don't need to be like, I need to hurry up and get to the mountaintop. No, I want to embrace and sit in this place where I'm just being filled up, where it looks selfish. Maybe it feels selfish, but it's like, it's not. I'm being filled up right now so that we can go to the mountaintop and we can. So that's kind of what it represents for me,
All right, well, talk to me about some of the singles. I know you have Still and Empty. And,
yes, for sure.
And God with your mom.
Yes.
How was that singing with mom in the studio?
It was actually hilarious. It was actually hilarious because my family, like, people would think that they'd be, like, excited to be like, yes, let me get on the record. Not my family. They'll be like, girl, what time do you need me to, I don't know. Like, it's like pulling teeth to get them to do it. But it's, I like it because, when they do agree to do it, I know they've thought about it. It means a lot to them. But with Still and Thank You, God, which is basically the same song, but just kind of vamps out, I just knew, I was like, I wanted to end it with just prayer and affirmation and meditation for people. Like, that's what I like through this whole journey. Like, we kind of are going through the desert. That's what I look at. It's like a journey from desert to water, which represents journey from living life from a place of lack versus living life from a place of abundance. Mm-hmm. So, and we make it there at the end of the record. You know what I mean? And so I wanted my mom, I actually told her she could say whatever she wanted on the end of the record. She said, I'm going to read scripture. I was like, perfect. And I put the water underneath there too, just as a reminder. Water is it reminds me of like, it's very meditative, you know what I'm saying? It can be, even when it's rushing and turbulent, it can be very peaceful because water is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, something about the sound of it.
Yeah, and creation is what it is, right? Like, water is what it is. The trees and plants, they are what they are. They don't question their identity. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so, and it reminds me of like living water, you know what I mean? These things in the well. And so I wanted to end it with that. And so that's where Still is like the end of the journey. We have another single called Maybe Next Time, which is the very beginning of a journey. I'm hurt. I'm mad. I'm reading niggas, like, period. I'm being petty, like, you know what I mean?
But you know what? Those are the phases that people go through. That's real
100%,
life.
exactly.
That's real life stuff.
And that's what's kind of told through a series of just like relationships, things that work, things that didn't work, getting to points of reflection. Empty, I really love, because Empty, again, reminds me of Cherith, where it's like, I can't love you until I'm filled up. You know what I mean? And that's been a hard thing for me to admit, because when you need to fill up, that's why I say, I know that this might make you uncomfortable, because sometimes when you need to fill up, like, or you just need to stand in what it is, your power, then people they don't like that this is different. This is different from how I'm used to you being.
Exactly. They don't want, they want you to change, but they don't want you to change.
Yeah, but they really don't want you to change. They want, you know what I mean? So it's like, and that's what empty is really about. Like, I'm going to take my time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to feel bad. Or if I do feel bad, I'm just going to accept the fact that I might not feel great about this, but I know this is necessary, you know, like. So there's also one on there called Probably that I love. Probably is earlier in the desert to read.
Where are you in this desert part with Probably?
Where am I at with Probably? We're really pretty early in the desert. I mean, still, like, I'm reading this nigga for lying on me. Like, when we get out of the relationship, you didn't even really love me. Yes, I did. I poured into you. You know what I mean? It came from this idea that, like, I hate the phrase, like, that beat was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, when you really unlock, when you call a person crazy, you know what I'm saying? It's like, there's no room for you to examine your own contribution, you know what I'm saying, to the breakdown of things. You know what I mean? It might have still been their fault or mostly their fault or whatever, but
everybody needs to take ownership of what they brought.
And everything needs some self-examination. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you examine it, you're like, yo, that was crazy. You examine to be like, I never want to experience that again, so I'll never go back. You know, but I feel like it needs reflection, self-examination, I think, are just healthy practices. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so, but it was just examining this idea of, like, when you leave a situation, like, there's, like, one story, another story, and then there's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, and but I'm reading him a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
as long as he's getting checked, he's getting checked.
You know what I mean?
All right, so as you're on your journey musically,
yes,
I have seen that you are on your journey style-wise, fashion-wise as well. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about how that related to maybe even with your music. Do you feel a certain way when you're dressed a certain way with the songs and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I was tired of just being I wanted to be sexy in this season of my life. But then I got over it because I was like, wow, shit is a lot of work. So I was like, I'm going to just be cool. You know what I mean? Keep it cool. No, yeah, my style's definitely, like, evolved. But you know what's funny? It's always been, like, I've always been a lot of different people, I think, in one body. There's a lot of things I like. So it's like, and I think I've always felt weird about that. I've always felt like,
why?
Because it was like, why can't I just have that one identifiable thing like everybody has? That's their focus, that's their identity, that's their da-da-da. It's so funny. I had this apostle pray over me one time. He didn't know anything about me. He just said, I feel you struggling with the whole bunch of different ideas and persons and personalities and things, da-da-da. And I start crying immediately. He didn't even get to the punchline. I'm just like, nah. You know what I mean? Like, and he was just like, you know, he was like, of course, take it into prayer, take it with a grain of salt. He said, but I just hear God saying, like, I wired you this way for all of it. Like, it is for you to do all of these things. You can do these multiple things. You can do these. It is for you to do and to be all those things. And so, like, lately in my life, the last few years, I'm just like, yeah, it's cool. I like a little, you know, emo. I like a little hippie girl. You know what I'm saying? I like a clean, you know, like, kind of corporate look. I like a, you know, and then this kind of allows me to play in a lot of dreamy worlds, the aesthetic of the record, because it's kind of like this sort of like futurism thing, but meets like rough and tumble Mad Max desert-ish, but like I also still like the pastels and the dreamy, you know what I mean? It's like a psychedelic desert, so it's not like
psychedelic desert.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly.
I like that. I like that.
Because I was like, if we're gonna be in the desert's still lit. You know what I'm saying? The desert can be fun.
We still turn.
Sometimes you don't want to leave the desert. You like, I like it here. You know, like so. But my style is a million different ways. So honestly, you know, I definitely wanted to do more red-ish or like copperish hair in this season.
Yeah.
But honestly, I was like, this is going to be my look. This will be my hair for the record. Da, da, da. And I was like, girl, who are you kidding? You're going to do 8 million different things. And like, I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's dope because that's a form of expression.
Yeah.
So I know when you first came out, you had the flower, the thing. And
just
so we
the
thought
vintage,
that was
like
you.
very,
Yes.
Yeah. Which is listen, there will always be a touch of vintage in there because I do like, even when I look at the future, I like it through the lens of like I like Star Trek from like the early 60s. Mm-hmm. I like it through that lens because they had no idea. So everything was so playful and clunky and fun and whatever. So I like to look at the future and space kind of through the lens of a vintage vibe, you know what I mean? But so bring the worlds together, you know what I mean?
I like it. Yeah. All right, so we're bringing the words together. We have the new album, Cassandra.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Are you going out?
That was petty. She trolling me right now. She was like, Andra, what's your extra self? Right?
Are we doing any touring and everything for this summer?
Yes.
Where are you going?
Yeah, super excited. Actually, if there's, I hope, does this air in time too? Yeah. June 1st we have Summer Stage, which is actually a free concert. I'm so excited.
In New York City?
Yes, in
Oh,
Central
I
Park.
love
Yes,
Summer
yeah, y'all should come
Stage.
out definitely, please. So it's myself and two artists that I absolutely love. I'm huge fans of Ebony Riley and Alex Vaughn. So they'll be there performing as well too. So it's just we're making it a ladies' night or a ladies' day. You know what I mean? We're very excited, and so yeah, you guys should definitely come out. We're doing that. So we're kind of like on the festival run right now. We'll be doing Napa, the Blue Note with Robert Glasper.
Yes.
In August? Is it August? Yeah, August.
I might see you there.
Yay! Okay, perfect. Yeah, you should. It's so fun. I actually went there just to enjoy the festival like last year. And he did have me come jump on stage because we did like a couple jumps together. So, but it was just
Were you
fun.
ready to jam, or were you like, I'm a little nervous, but did you just lean into it?
I was terrified. I'm nervous all the time. I literally, but you just going. I had to like. I'm gotten used to just being like, I'm terrified, but walk on stage anyway. You know what I mean? But I enjoyed it as like a patron of just like the, you know what I mean, like the festival.
I missed last year. I was like, oh man, it
Let me
looked
tell
like
you
it was
something,
so
though, girl.
much
Listen,
fun.
I was woed out though. I was like, yo, we owe a much more gratitude to the people who come to these festivals because boy, stage to stage, and it's a lot of work. You know what I mean, like. But so we're excited about that. We have Capitol Jazz Fest in the 7th, I think, and then the 9th. What else we got going on? Hollywood Bowl, June 15th.
She's like, what's my roster? Where am I going to be? But you're booked and busy.
Yeah, there's festivals. There's a lot of
thing.
festivals coming up, and then we start touring August. So I'm
That
really
is
excited. Yes, for
amazing.
sure. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
I'm super excited for you.
Yes,
All right,
thank you.
so now, here's the little random fun stuff. What was
okay.
The random question. What was the last thing you cooked?
The last thing I cooked, sweet potatoes.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, sweet potatoes, but it's real bland and boring. Don't judge me, y'all.
You don't put any cinnamon and butter?
No, it was a special diet. It's like, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to clean everything out, did all this stuff. So it was boiled sweet potatoes with turmeric and garlic. That's it. Yeah, I know. It's health.
That wasn't fun at
It
all.
was health. Damn.
Garlic
sorry.
is good, but
Right,
I'm
yeah.
like, sweet potato?
I gotta keep it clean. I gotta keep it clean right now.
But what happens when you're on tour, though?
Yeah, well, I got to figure it out for this tour because historically what has happened when I'm on tour is, you just eat anything at any hour of the night, and that is so bad for you. So this tour, I actually have this is going to sound hella bougie. You know the shit you say that you're like, I never thought this would ever happen in my life. But shout out to Chef Deb. I love you. She's the most amazing chef ever. But I do
Why am I
have...
looking like Chef Deb is in here? I'm looking around.
But me too. Like, and I'm talking to everybody too. It's community. Like, they're only looking at
Yes.
us on here, but I'm just like engaging. No. So yeah, no. I do have this chef. She's amazing. She's a Black woman. She's incredible.
And she tours with you?
No. She does not tour. I just started working with her like a few months ago, and so she like cooks for me. But I'm gonna talk to her just about like touring and stuff. I'm trying to figure it out what I'm gonna do for touring.
Okay.
I actually have, if being candid, I have zero idea what I'm gonna do. Hopefully, not eat a bunch of terrible shit late at night.
Well, now that you know better, you're going to attempt to do better?
Attempt to do better.
All right, last time you were in love?
Oh, fuck. I mean, frick. Oh, my God. Last time I was in love. Yeah, Jesus. Okay. The last time I was in love, I'm still technically very much in love.
Very good.
But that
Maybe?
is... No, that's over. It was over as of a few weeks ago. So it's still kind of fresh, yeah. Wah, wah,
That's okay.
Yes.
Onward and upward, and we're going to
Sorry.
go back to your
I'm
lyrics
trolling
and
myself right now.
Don't
at this
troll
point.
yourself, but we can rise
I'm still
up,
very, very
okay?
much in love, but that is done as of a couple weeks ago. So.
All right, and what's your favorite store to shop at? It's random.
Ooh, my favorite store to shop at. What is my favorite? There's a lot of me in here, so it just depends on who you get. Okay, listen, I'll put it to you
right
like
now,
this.
if we were to go to the store now, where do you have to go? If I need to run to
I need
Macy's,
to
Marshalls,
run to.
Bloomingdale's, Vintage.
Oh, we doing that? Gap.
Oh, come on. I see. We're going to Gap.
I do love the Gap.
That was a good save.
Yes, no, that was good. Okay, yes. There's the Gap, and then there's any like health and wellness store. I'm obsessed. There's something called Herbally Grounded in Vegas where my dad lives that I absolutely love.
What do they have there? Just all kinds of
Just all
nutritional
the herbs,
stuff?
all the everything, all the horsetail, all of the
Ooh,
maca,
recommend me one. Give me
all
one
of
that we
the-
need to try that we have not. That's not mainstream. Give me one.
Ooh, like a herb, like a tea type of thing. Ooh, that's not mainstream. Let's see. I would say Korean red ginseng is a really, really good one.
Korean red ginseng.
Yeah,
Now, what
Korean
does that
red
do for
ginseng.
me?
Well, I do also. I actually make this. I'm not gonna say it out here, but I actually make this. I'm working on it because it's actually gonna come out soon, so I'm excited.
Okay, Hustler.
Actually, I'm not that soon. Don't quote me on that.
Girl!
But I'm developing it. Yeah, I'm developing it right now. But it's like a hair growth serum, so I do. So it is really good for circulation. Very, very good for circulation, for heart health, and then hair growth as well. So that's like kind of my main focus.
That's awesome. Which
Yes.
okay, wait a minute. Let's lead that into our hustler's tip because we talk about extending the brand.
Okay. Love it.
So, what made you go into that journey of the hair care serum?
I am obsessed with just like health and wellness. I love taking care of my body, taking care of your skin, and there are so many things that we use or that we aren't aware of, you know what I mean, that we have access to that can really make a difference in our skin, you know. So like even from just like filtering your shower, filtering your house, or like, you know what I mean? And so the water that we use, but it just made me, and also I think just as I grew up in the era, like I remember the time before natural hair care exploded and became a thing. You know what I'm saying? And
Me
so
too.
100%.
There was nothing out there.
It was nothing. It was nothing out there. And not only was there no products out there, the messaging out there was you know, antithetical to just us and to our hair. And so it was just like, your hair can't grow. And then there was the myth of like your hair only can grow the length that your mother's hair was the longest. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, all the stuff that we heard.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
I had somebody tell me one time I had my natural hair out because I started this years ago. I started this really like because I was perming my hair when I was in high school and then a bunch of it broke off. So I really stopped. I started going natural like before I was 18. Stop. Don't play me. Okay. Right. But, and I remember having my natural hair out one time. And somebody telling me, wow, your hair is just like a total violation of social norms. And I was like, huh.
Who says that?
Yeah,
to
I was like,
people?
wow. Or like at work when it was just like, if I had my hair out, it was like, no, your hair. I was like, well, her and my hair are in the same style. Mine is just a different texture. I was like, nah, you need to either straighten it or put it back or tighten it. It's too much of a problem, too distracting. Like I've been told all the terrible things, you know what I mean, about my hair. And then I saw with like my mother genetics, right? You know, I saw like with my mother and my members of my family how they felt, you know, as they got older, losing their hair and I just was like, you know, there's actually a lot of things that we can do internally and externally, you know what I'm saying, with our hair once we understand like the science of a hair, like the actual, what the root actually is, what thickness of hair actually is, which is a product cannot make your hair thicker once it comes out. Like that starts with the size of the follicle. You have to clear things out of it. It starts at the papilla or whatever they call it of the hair. So, like, I just was like, when you understand, like, the science of hair and you understand, like, the products that we can use, there's a lot of genetics, supposedly, you can beat back. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like, certain genetic things are like, if you do not take care of it, genetically, you are predisposed to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you take care of it and you pay attention to those things. So, just seeing it in my mom and my family and, like, how losing your hair can make women, particularly black women who deal with alopecia more than others, can make us really feel, especially in this society, so invaluable. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, so it's not really a focus to say, hey, you're only beautiful or valuable if you have hair, but it is to say, here's tools if you want to do that. You know what I'm saying? That can help us do that. So
and you're
I'm like
provide
obsessive.
that. You sound passionate about it.
Yeah, I'm super
See, I would buy
passionate
something
about
from
it.
you.
Oh, I love
Some
it.
folks
No.
who put stuff out that to me it's just like they're just doing it.
I agree. My team knows this too. I tell them as we develop this, I want it to be such like if I do not tie my name to it at all, people will buy it because it's great. You know what I mean? That's my thing. Like I love I don't know who, before we knew the popularity of Jeff Bezos, most people wouldn't be like, oh, we know who owns Amazon when it was a bookstore, or you know what I mean? I don't know who owns some of these great brands that I love. You know what I mean? All I know is that the product works really well. So that's my main thing. Like if we tie my name to it, cool, great. But if we don't, I want it to go because it actually works. It's growing my day-to-days hair right here. And
nice.
You know, and so you know, I'm like really passionate about.
All right,
about
so
that
now
for
we're gonna stalk you and like, when is the product coming? When is the
for
product
sure.
coming?
Actually, no, we'll come back here first. You know what I mean? Once we get it, you know what I'm saying.
That
And
would be dope.
listen, and to be clear, I give credit to all of these YouTubers and social media people who are developing these products and doing so much work in this space. Like, you know, for us as black women, our research is YouTube now for our hair.
Of course,
you know what I'm saying, but. You know how black women are. We're going to dive deep. You know what I mean? So shout out to all of them who are doing amazing things. You know.
I love it. All right. Well, listen, Miss Andra Day with the Cassandra album. You're doing amazing things. We're super excited that you stopped by. I love your energy.
Likewise.
For
Likewise.
real.
I love that last question, too. That's solid.
Yeah. And thanks for being a part of the show.
Thank
And
you.
I can't wait to see you on stage.
Yes. Thank you. Thank y'all so much. Definitely come out. Summer stage, y'all. Bye.